Good morning to Dan Geltrude, who's with us. He's a certified public accountant and an expert on both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's tax plans. Dan, we're preparing for tropical storm or hurricane. We don't even know what's going to happen here, but good morning to you.
Good morning, King. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. The three things we wanted to cover was the Donald Trump tax plan, the Hillary Clinton tax plan, and then I don't know if you want to start with this, but Obamacare, I think Obamacare is the key pivotal issue that affects everybody. Not every issue affects people, and people get divided with social issues or whatever. Obamacare affects everybody, and it's really been a disaster. People are bracing for their November premiums that are due, and they're supposedly going to skyrocket, maybe even up 50% or 70%. It's insane. So I don't know where you want to start, Dan, but the floor is yours.
Well, thanks, King. I guess we could start with Obamacare. Let's not forget that Obamacare is essentially a massive tax. And that's not just my opinion. That was based upon the Supreme Court decision as to whether it was constitutional or not. Because John Roberts, the Chief Justice, was the one who said the individual mandate, the reason why that's constitutional is because it's a tax. And Congress has the authority to tax. So that's really where we start with. It's a massive tax. But then when we get into, besides the cost of it, which is significant to everyone, we get into quality of care and choice of care, right? Those are the issues that people deal with on a daily basis. What's going to be the quality of my care? And, you've heard this before. You can keep your doctor. Well, maybe that's not so true. So it's a big challenge, and we're going to have to see how this plays out in November, because as we've heard on the Republican side, Donald Trump has said he will repeal Obamacare, as opposed to Hillary Clinton. If she's elected, Obamacare is here to stay. So it's a big issue.
Right, and to me it's clearly a tax, because who's collecting the funds if you don't pay? Our friends from the IRS. And I think at this now what you're saying, and I think it's going to resonate with especially younger voters who would rather pay the tax than pay premiums of $500 or $700 a month or whatever with giant deductibles. I think that you're going to see them, because what's happening with them, they're being fined because they didn't buy Obamacare, so their tax refund is bye-bye, or they're going to owe the IRS, and if they don't pay on time, the penalty and interest will increase. So this is just a disaster for a lot of people who had no problems with the Department of Treasury at all of a sudden are going to have maybe $1,000 bill with their tax return.
Well, you're right on, King. And let's also not forget that the only way Obamacare could essentially work is that the young, healthy people who do not go to the doctor have to pay in. It's the same concept as Social Security. Okay, so people who are collecting Social Security, they're actually not getting the money that they paid in earlier in their work life. What they're getting is the money, because that money's gone. The money that they're getting is from the people who are currently working and paying in. So Obamacare works the same way, that we have to have participation by the young people paying those premiums into the insurance companies. If they don't do that, the system will not work. There will not be enough funding to pay for the elderly or the sick in the end. It's just that simple.
If you're just joining us here on WIBG, Daniel Geltrude is with us. He's a CPA up in northern New Jersey and an expert on both Hillary and Trump's tax plans. I guess my first question is, I don't ever hear the national debt being addressed by either candidate. And I know that under both plans, the debt would increase. What are your views on that? And obviously, to me, the Trump tax plan, cutting corporate taxes and making America more business friendly, that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's going to work. But ultimately, with those tax breaks, he's going to face a deficit, I would believe. Am I wrong about that?
You're right about that, but let's back up for 1 second and let's talk about the debt. And you said people are not, the candidates are not addressing the debt. Why aren't they addressing the debt? Because people can't even comprehend it. And I'm not suggesting that people are stupid by any stretch. I'm just going to give you a real example. If you take your average American citizen and you tell them that they have a credit card bill that's looming, and that bill is $100 million, they'd laugh because they'd say, I could never pay that back. And at the same time, you have other credit card companies who are handing them more credit cards to let them keep spending. So they keep spending. That's what's going on with our government. When you're talking about a national debt encroaching $20 trillion, the number is so large it actually becomes meaningless. It's laughable. We're never going to be able to pay it back. So why even talk about it? So that's just not a hot button right now with the voters. That's why I believe the candidates are not talking about it. It's hugely important, but it's just not what people are thinking about. People are thinking about, I need a job, the economy has to improve. That's their focus. And that's how we really parlay into these tax proposals. And keep in mind, both candidates have not finalized their tax plans. But the general picture, which you touched on, King, was that Donald Trump is proposing tax cuts across the board, individual and for corporations. Hillary, on the other hand, is taking the position, and we heard this before, we are going to tax the rich and we are going to tax corporations because they're not paying their fair share. And that to me is all about politics. Now, I'm an accountant, obviously. That's not about fiscal responsibility.
Absolutely. And I mean, Hillary's plan is actually another stimulus. She, just like Obama did, and then Obama joked that, oh, well, I guess there weren't too many shovel-ready jobs. I mean, I haven't heard anything out of Hillary other than that she wants to spend billions and billions of dollars on, again, the government spending the money to create jobs. That's her only plan, as far as I know, where Trump is going to open it up. And I mean, our economy should explode, in my view, and I'm not an expert like you, but our economy should explode if we get a lot of that money overseas back into America, if we get small businesses back. I mean, to open a small business, you got to stand on your head, count to 20, jump through a flaming tire, and all that. I mean, it's really almost impossible for a small business owner to do well here. What are the highlights that you see for the Trump plan? What do you see as the better plan? Obviously, the Hillary plan is a joke, in my view.
Well, I like Trump's tax plan, and because what I believe Trump is putting forth is he has confidence in the American people and he has confidence in our economy. Because if you think about it, Trump is proposing tax cuts, which means on its surface, the way the economy stands right now, less money is going to be coming into the government. So you can make an argument that that's a step back. However, he believes that those tax cuts are going to incentivize people to work more so that they have money to invest, that they can save if they choose, or they can work more and keep more. And that's going to be the stimulus for the economy to grow. Now, step two, as the economy grows, more people are paying taxes. Therefore, the revenue will increase to be able to support the government spending. Now, by the way, neither candidate has really addressed what is the elephant in the room, which is government spending. But for right now, we're just sticking on the tax side. Hillary, on the other hand, is proposing tax increases on the rich as well as corporations. And to me, what that's signaling is, I do not believe that the economy is going to grow. Our gross domestic product has been hovering around 1%, which is absolutely anemic. It's terrible. So when you look at that, she's saying, I don't believe the economy is going to grow. Therefore, for the United States government to sustain itself, I got to tax people. And the only place I can go, because so many people are hurting, I have to go to the rich and I have to go to corporations. And that's the keystone of her plan as it stands right now.
We have Dan Geltrude on the phone. He's a CPA. We only have about a couple of minutes left. Dan, if there's anything that you would like to mention, or maybe some of our listeners here in Atlantic City would like to contact you, how do they do that? And we'd love to have you back on the show in the near future as we're gearing up for November 8th. But yeah, give us where can people find you, and if there's anything we didn't mention, please in this next minute tell us.
Sure. Well, the easiest way to find me is through my website at geltrude.com. And the last thing I want to say is people have a tendency to talk about tax fairness, and I just want to address that for a moment in terms of what's fair. If you look at, let's say, someone in New Jersey who's doing very well, they're working hard and they've been successful and they're making good money. If they're on the top, if they're in the top federal tax bracket, they're paying nearly 40% in income tax. And we're only talking about income tax. There's plenty of other taxes. In New Jersey, the top tax rate, income tax rate, is about 9%. So you could round those two and say just in income tax between federal and New Jersey, you're at 50%. And let's put that in perspective. That means from January 1st through June 30th, you don't make any money. You don't make a penny until July 1st, because the first half of the year, 50% of your time, you're working to pay your taxes. So I say common sense, right, King? Common sense. Is it fair to have people working half the year and not make a penny, to give up 50% of your income to your silent partners, the federal and state government? I don't think so. So I think we should stop the divisiveness of, hey, we need to tax the rich. That's our way to prosperity. That doesn't work. The way to prosperity is grow the economy.
Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program, and if we survive this Hermine storm coming up tonight and tomorrow and Monday, we'd be happy to have you back on. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, King. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.